is calling 2021 CR 4765B, State of Texas versus Christina Wallace. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Andrew Harris Sadelman.
for the defense?
Chance Shimoda for the defense.
All right. And are you Miss Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Wallace, did you review the document entitled Court's Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of evading arrest detention with a vehicle? That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
She has, Judge.
Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 3 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine and the state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea?
That means probation, right?
All right, listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
The state is recommending your punishment be assessed at 3 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine. The state is recommending community supervision, which is probation. Do you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your term of probation be for 3 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 120 hours community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest, Your Honor.
State any evidence?
Contained in Exhibit 1 and attachments, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
State you may be excused. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Judge. Well, just briefly, we asked the court to follow the plea agreement. She was in an abusive relationship. She went to Oklahoma to get away from that relationship. She maintains that she's been clean for the last several years since she got out of that situation and went away from the person whose drugs was the passengers. And she is looking to try to get her life back on order.
All right. So do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are they?
14, 12.
I'm sorry, what?
13, 14, and 12.
All right. Has Child Protective Services been involved in your life?
No, ma'am. My mom has my children right now.
And how long has she had them?
For the past 5 years.
So when did you start using drugs and what's your drug of choice?
Pills mostly pills and alcohol, but I started using drugs when I was in junior high.
And what were you using?
Like Xanax, Vicodin, alcohol.
So how did she end up at the Bexar County Jail?
She ended up in Oklahoma, Judge, and she maintains that she wasn't aware of a court date, which issued the warrant, that she got picked up in Oklahoma.
All right, what part of Oklahoma?
Oklahoma City, ma'am. I was with my father.
All right, how far did you go in school?
So I have I'm like 19 credits away from getting my business degree.
Okay. And where did you go to business school?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Where did you go to business school?
Wyndham.
I'm sorry.
I have my credits through Wyndham and I also have my credits through San Antonio College. I'm 19 credits away.
So when did you end up at San Antonio College?
When I was in
What year?
2005. And then I started having children. I stopped going. And then I recently started picking up trying to get my college credits in.
And how did you meet Kevin Miller?
That's the story in itself. Actually, I met Kevin Miller through a friend of mine. I was in an abusive relationship and he was supposed to help me and it turned out to be worse than the one I was in.
I'm sorry, it turned out what?
It turned out to be worse than the one I was in. I was actually in a really abusive relationship. The man I was with had stabbed me. And so a friend of mine actually referred me to go stay with him. He had a nice family, this, that, but it wasn't the case at all, actually. He actually turned out to be more abusive than the last one.
All right, and so were there other things going on with you with your drug use? How were you supporting your habit?
I was working, ma'am.
Doing what?
Quiet, please. I apologize, but
Doing what?
I was working at Michelin Tires.
Doing what at Michelin Tires?
Selling tires.
And this friend who recommended you or introduced you to Travis Miller, what's that friend's name?
Stephanie
Stephanie what?
Little.
All right. And is she going to be asked to be transferred to Oklahoma?
I think she's fine with being here for
I'm
now.
okay with being here for now. I want to take a program to have at Haven for Hope.
Okay. All right, court is going to find you guilty. The court will sentence you to 3 years in prison, suspended and probated for 6 years. There's a $2,000 fine that will be probated. Defensive driving, regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. She's not allowed to live in a residence with minors. There's to be no contact with Kevin Miller or Stephanie Little. TAP evaluation in custody. And I'll do a referral for Esperanza Court. And that will be in custody. And when Esperanza Court interviews you, you need to be 100% honest with them about what you've been doing and how you've been making your money, okay?
Yes, ma'am. What is Esperanza Court?
It is a court that will help you get your life in order
Okay.
if you want to get your life in order.
Yes, ma'am.
There's to be 120 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once she completes parenting classes, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Field visits, 1 time per month for 4 months. 120 sober meetings in 120 days. If you need any type of counseling, because I know you said previously you were in a abusive relationship, if you need counseling for that, let probation know, okay? Probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? All right, and we're off the record. In this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have any issues or a question, let probation know. If you feel as though they're not addressing it, you can always come back to this court. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you ever think you're going to use, you need to contact your probation officer and let them know. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Court is calling 2021 CR 4765B, State of Texas versus Christina Marie Wallen, was scheduled at 9 a.m. It is now 10:47 a.m. The defendant, Christina Marie Wallace, has not been on the Zoom screen. Deputy Mejia, is there a Christina Marie Wallace in the courtroom?
No, Judge, she is not.
And has she been in the courtroom at all today?
No.
Defense, have you had any contact with your client?
Judge, my last contact with her was when she was in jail, and I have not had any contact since she's been released.
All right, state.
We asked for a forfeiture and a warrant.
All right, that'll be granted. Your client will be remanded without bond. If you have contact with your client and your client presents herself, the court will reconsider. And you are excused if you have no one else with us, Mr. Miller, yes, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, ma'am. I have a plea that I wish to take, but in this plea, I'm trying to ask for leniency. I just got.
Oh, no, time out, Mr. Miller. Let me explain to you about plea bargain agreements in this court or anything that happens in this court. If you have a plea bargain with the state, I keep an open mind. I read what's in the evidence that's presented to me, and then I make a decision on that and any other evidence that's presented to me. So I always have an open mind. I think your defense counsel will tell you I always have an open mind. So I don't know anything about your case, and it's not fair for you to present evidence to me about your case without the state then being able to present evidence about your case to me as well. You understand? Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Nahara?
Yes,
And I don't believe he's trying to present evidence, Judge. I think he's just trying to request something as far as bonds and things of that sort. So I don't believe it's his intention to try to make any sort of argument at this time.
Okay, all right, Mr. Miller, I'll keep an open mind and consider whatever you wish for me to consider.
and what I was asking is, I don't want to come empty-handed. I want to give proof that I can do something different than what I've been doing, because all my history shows that I don't deserve any kind of leniency. So I was gonna
Okay.
ask if I can get maybe a couple months to try to post bond.
That's done.
And then after that, if I do make bond, maybe we can come with a reasonable amount of times where I could show you that I can function in society.
Well, Mr. Miller, it sounds to me like you want to enter a plea, but you're asking for a pre-sentence investigation. Is that correct, Mr. Nahara?
He would like some time prior to sentencing to attempt to bond out, Judge, so that he can try to be a productive member and express that to this court.
Yes, we will order a pre-sentence investigation report. And so you will have time from the time that you enter into your plea agreement. Your sentencing will not happen today. It will happen at a later date. Do you understand, Mr. Miller?
The screen, it's the
Yes,
same.
ma'am. But will I have a reasonable amount of time to try? My family don't have a lot of money right now to come up with that in like a short period of time.
Here's the thing, Mr. Miller. I can't have somebody at the jail forever, right? So you will be given a date for a pre-sentence investigation report. And if Mr. Nahara feels that more time is needed, then Mr. Nahara will request a continuance from the court. And then I will either grant it or not grant it. Again, I will keep an open mind on the granting of that if it is requested.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Mr. Miller. All right, according to your plea bargaining agreement, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of possession with intent to deliver 4 to 200 grams. You entered a plea of no contest. The court found there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court found you guilty. There are no applications. Your punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 12 years in the prison. The state will take in consideration 2021 CR 4765A. State, you're asking for a cap of 12?
Yes, Judge. And Judge, on this one, we're asking for the high end of the cap based on, as you can see in the PSI. Well, first of all, we already gave him the lesser included. He had over 200 grams of meth. We are also taking into consideration a felon in possession charge. He had this exact same offense, as you can see in the PSI, where he was given 5 years. And we're back to where we started here. Significant amount of criminal history. He's also a documented gang member. We think that by getting the reduction in the TIC of the felon in possession, that was a pretty good deal. And so for these reasons, asking for you to sentence him to the cap of 12.
Right, and probation, could you email me the PSI report, please? Yes, Mr. Nahara.
I have a couple, well, 3 witnesses technically, Judge, if I could call them. They should all be logged on at this time.
All right, who's your first witness?
Tanya Chacon or Chacon.
All right, Mr. Khan, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record, please.
Tanya Chacon.
All right, defense.
Mr. Chacon, how do you know Mr. Miller?
We met through a mutual friend, and he lived across the street from a family friend that I've known for many years.
And how long have you known him? Do you know?
Probably the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years.
Now, do you think you know him well?
I know him well enough. I know I know him from what he was from then, you know, the times where he's been in trouble and in and out to now. And I can see the difference in how much he appreciates like his freedom a little bit. It's a little different this time.
Okay, and let me ask you about that specifically. You knew him before he was locked up.
Yes, sir.
And since this last arrest, have you noticed any differences in him?
This one especially, I want to say from when he got arrested in the beginning, the conversations was still about that same lifestyle, to just, things that shouldn't be important to him anymore. But he started to progress and he started to change. And it was like these conversations became about how everybody was doing, the kids, his mom, his brothers, like real life stuff and just appreciating, life a little bit more, like he should have been appreciating life. And so I started to, that this new Kevin was coming out, and it was just, something that I really like seeing and hearing.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Yes, sir.
All right, State.
Your Honor, the state doesn't have any questions for this witness.
Your next witness, please.
I'll call Mr. John Carroll.
All right, Mr. Carroll, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand.
Oh, may I proceed, Judge?
Yes.
Mr.
Carroll, how do you know Mr. Miller?
I met him when I had just got out of the Army. I've known him since he was 16.
And what do you do for a living?
I work in the oil field as a hydrovac technician. Next month in December will be my second year.
Now, since this last arrest for Mr. Miller, have you been in communication with him? Have you been talking with him?
I have. I put money on his books, and I also put money on the phone to communicate with him.
And have you seen any changes in his attitude since this last arrest?
I have. He's starting to turn towards wanting to settle down. I mean, it's kind of hard for us when we don't have any good role models or anybody doing well in our lives. I have told him that whenever he gets out, that I'll still be in the oil field. I'm currently getting my CDL. I make $50,000 a year right now, but once I get my CDL, I'll be making over 100. And I could definitely bring him in to this world as long as I see the difference. I can't bring him in and mess everything up for me, but I'm trying to give him a way to change his life.
So you're willing to give him employment once he is released on parole?
Yes, I could definitely get him a job with my company.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carroll. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, State.
No questions, Judge.
All right, any other witnesses?
One more, Judge. Miss Miller. God, I don't want to mispronounce her first name. I think it's Beatty Miller. Beatty Miller.
Is it Bettina Miller?
That's probably right. That sounds right.
Right. All right, Miss Miller, you need to start your video. All right, Miss Miller, if you could unmute for me, please.
Miss Miller, what is your relation to Kevin Miller?
I'm his mother.
And tell me a little bit about yourself and your medical condition right now.
In 2016, I had 4 back surgeries that left me disabled. My health has been gradually going down south. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm at maybe 68 pounds right now. I feel like if Kevin's locked away for a long time, I'm not going to be here when he gets out. He
And was
lost his
Kevin
father the last time he was locked up, and he never got to say goodbye to his dad.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the judge about your son before she makes her decision as to his punishment?
Since he's been locked up, I have seen a big significant change in his idealization of how he needs to be. He wants to be able to help me get out there and get a real job, become a real man. He says, Mom, I don't know why I messed up again, but this time I'm not going to mess up, and I need to be there for you, and I need to see you.
Thank you very much. I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
Benson, I'm sorry, State, any questions?
No, Judge.
So the court will hear arguments. State, you've already presented your argument. Is there more you'd like to add based upon the testimony?
Your Honor, not necessarily based on the testimony, just one quick point. Just Your Honor has a frame of reference. He was released from prison on May 19th of 2020 for a possession intent to deliver. And then this offense, these two offenses, because we have one pending, the felon, was on March 23rd of 2021. Just to give Your Honor an idea of the timeline here and how apparently the 5 years last time didn't make enough of impact.
All right, defense.
Judge, there's no denying my client's criminal history. It's there. It shows a long history of drug use, even into his juvenile days. The tap eval shows that as well. He's been doing alcohol, methamphetamine, heroin since almost the age of 17. It has dominated his life, and it has led him into the system, and he has been in and out of prison since his childhood. All I can tell this honorable court is that I've spoken with my client for these last few months while I've represented him. I believe he has hit that point where he has hit rock bottom. He's getting to an age where he realizes that this course of conduct that he's been upon is just going to keep him in the system and in prison. He's trying to get away from the lifestyle. He's in jail right now, so he's cleaned up. He's thinking clearly, and realizes that this last event that he involved himself in, this last mistake that he made, may cause him to be locked up while his mother passes away, just like he was locked up when his father passed away. All I can do is ask for mercy for my client, Judge. He does seem to really want to change his life and get a job and do his time and try to turn things around and get out of the system, Your Honor.
The amount of drugs we have here is amount for selling. It's 249.5 grams of methamphetamines. So, I mean, I'm not going to grant your application. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in the prison.
Oh,
Give you credit for any time served. Take in consideration 2021 CR 4765A. All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Miller, sometimes we go so far down the rabbit hole that there's nothing that can be done. I know you probably think 10 years is a lot, and I know it does seem a lot, but I want you to take this time to try to better yourself. And when you get out of prison, you're going to have to make sure that you don't get into any more trouble, because you're going to turn around and you're going to be charged as a habitual, which means your minimum is going to be 25 years if you pick up any more cases. So how old are you, Mr. Miller?
30.
All right, you're getting to that point where you're going to have more of your life behind you in front of you. So you're going to have to start doing better. If you can't avoid temptation because of the people who are around you, then you're going to have to cut those people out of your life. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Miller.